Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast, your home for inspiring conversations with outdoor insiders. Each week, author, speaker, adventurer, and outdoor industry veteran Rick Saez talks in depth with iconic brand founders, sales and marketing pros, product designers, and industry rising stars. Listen in when Rick's guests offer actionable advice to land your ideal industry gig and grow your outdoor career. Catch us again when the conversation shifts to the hottest outdoor products, destinations, and the latest industry insights. And now, here's Rick.
Welcome back, everyone. Costa Sunglasses recently welcomed a new VP of Marketing to the team, John Acosta. With more than 20 years of experience in the outdoor and fishing industries, John will now oversee Costa's global marketing efforts. In an exciting time for the fishing industry, 2021 marked the best year ever in Costa's history. In terms of sales and performance, the fishing industry is also experiencing the highest growth in fishing participation in more than a decade. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be here, and I'm an open book today, so I'm all yours.
Oh, this will be fun. All right. We have our list. We have our list of questions that we'll start working through. That'll get us going. I'm sure other things will pop into my mind and yours as well. So I look forward to chatting with you and meeting you one day at one of these trade shows. If we ever go back to trade shows again, who knows?
Absolutely.
Hopefully soon. So let's start off with how you were introduced to the outdoors. How'd you get into the outdoor activities and all that stuff? What was your first outdoor experience? Was it?
Yeah, it was fishing. I went fishing. I went to Catholic school. I was an altar boy. And one of the things that we had access to at the seminary was being able to fish for crappie. And so we got to do that. It was a fun thing. Just like anything else, once you feel that first tug, you get hooked on it, and it's exciting after that. So it only takes one time. So
that's right.
That's what I did. But honestly, recreational more than anything else. I was busy playing sports and other things. I fell into the outdoor industry from a business standpoint, based on just other things I had done in my career and where I'd been from a marketing standpoint. But I'll tell you, I love the outdoor space. I willingly chose to stay in it after leaving Bass Pro Shops, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be a part of Costa and what they do, especially in fishing. But I really have learned to not only love the sport itself from a high level, competitive level, recreational level. Really, it's a fascinating industry and business to be in as well.
Super fun. Yeah, it's super. It's on some levels it's relaxed, but then once in a while you get into the throes of it, and there's some heated conversations and heated things going on, because it is, at the end of the day, it's a big business for a lot of people, especially Bass Pro.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's where it really was quantifiable. It was looking at, you think about something that, especially sports that are hook and bullet, like fishing and hunting, that are such replenishable, gear dominated sports. There's a reason why there's millions of square feet, of retail space in the United States alone. And it's just, wow, that is incredible. And so it's been fun, and it's really interesting. And like you said, purely from a business standpoint, it's almost funny in some way, because it looks like, this looks like fun. It's chill, what you want to do when you're not doing anything else. But there is very big business behind it.
A lot of dollars. Yep. A lot of my buddies used to give me grief about, oh yeah, you're selling outdoor toys. Give me a break. I said, yeah, you sit in there. You sit in there on some of those negotiations sometimes. See how you like it.
Exactly.
So you're with Bass Pro a long time. Tell us about that. What was that like?
Yeah, so I was with Bass Pro for 12 years, and it was a great ride. When I joined there in 2006, it was a very interesting time, because at the time they only had 26 stores, pretty much a regional brand at that point, didn't have a full national footprint or anything else. Yep. And over the 12 years we had organically tripled in size to almost 100 stores. Wow. And then after that, doubled in size again when we acquired Cabela's. And so the business was that period I was there was a period of high growth. The business looked like a hockey stick. And I think that just getting that brand out there, and honestly being a part of being able to take that brand nationally, was a big highlight of my career, just to watch that. And especially if you live here in Springfield, Missouri, where I am, Bass Pro is an institution. Yeah. You've been to the corporate offices. Yep. You know what this main store looks like and everything else. It's so over the top of an experience that it's really something special and unique.
Yeah, that must have been fun, though, because I love that hot, fast-paced work life. It just makes everything go by quicker, and it's just 1 minute to the next. That must have been super fun.
Oh, it was very intense. And I think that the thing that was really interesting about Bass Pro, and Johnny Moore specifically, is he's such an entrepreneur, and that the company culture had a very entrepreneurial spirit. But he was in a lot of different businesses, right? We had the retail stores, we had our own house brands that we were developing marketing from a product standpoint. He had the boat side of the business with all the different boat brands. He had the retail arms of those boat brands. He was in the hospitality, area with his Big Cedar Lodge.
Yeah.
And then he started building golf courses and all kinds of things. And so it was a very interesting place to learn about lots of different types of businesses. And I think his vision for what he did and all the things he's built around here, he's a testament to what you can achieve with the American dream.
Yeah, pretty amazing. He's done a great job. And what was it like? I'm not familiar with Major League Fishing. Tell us about that. You left Bass Pro to go there, is that right?
Yeah, so when I was at Bass Pro, I was in marketing over there, and I headed up all broad reach marketing, so that would be media, sports, entertainment, corporate partnerships, sponsorship, brand, and content. And then I left a little while after the acquisition integration in Cabela's. 12 years was a great run. I think it was ready to do something different. Yeah, and as I was looking at other opportunities, I think this goes back to my earlier comment, that my heart was really with the outdoors. And I really had a lot of great relationships across the industry. And so I made the move over to Major League Fishing to become vice president of marketing and business development there. And the reason, and now I was there for 3 years, and really my main reason for making that move was to help launch and what was the genesis of the transformation of the brand, the Bass Pro Tour, which is the highest level of competition and tournament bass fishing. That's where all the name stars are. We've got 80 of the best anglers in the world fishing that circuit. And it was a really interesting time because Major League Fishing up until that point was really known as more of a reality-based fishing competition show. It was a great TV show concept and everything else, but a lot of these anglers moonlighted and did it on the side. But the day jobs were either fishing the Bassmaster Elite Series or FLW. And then when we decided to go full-time into the tournament space, that's what it was with the Bass Pro Tour. And what was revolutionary about that, being able to scale up to 80 anglers competing in these tournaments with catch, weigh, and release.
Wow.
And what we did from a media standpoint and live streaming and other things. So it really took tournament bass fishing to the next level.
Yeah, it really did. I've seen a couple of those. I have a couple of buddies that actually fish, not that tournament, obviously, but they fish tournaments. And that must have been a great experience learning the whole media production, TV production side of it too. Just getting exposed to that. Yeah, that'd be huge.
Yeah, that was a big part. I did a lot of TV production when I was at Bass Pro, either through our own commercials or TV shows that we created. We have 5 TV shows that we produced in-house, so very vertically integrated. When you go to a media company like Major League Fishing, which is tournament related, we have full-fledged tournament operations, but also heavy emphasis on media. And then because we were owned by a Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, Stan Kroenke's group, and also part of that portfolio was Outdoor Sportsman Group, so Outdoor Channel, Sportsman, and all the other media assets that were in that, we really had a lot of juice to do a lot of different things in that space from a media standpoint. And I think that being around all that production and really understanding the nuances of what it was like to take bass fishing and translate it into a live sport was very eye-opening and something that I learned a lot from. And I look back proudly 3 years later, even though I just left, and to see where the Bass Pro Tour is now, and the numbers that they're posting is just off the charts.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think, too, I don't have any experience in that, but I got to imagine that the live portions of it had to create some interesting and learning experiences and challenges as well. It's one thing to tape a show in a studio, but then when you're live, who knows what's going to happen next?
Oh, absolutely. And I think part of it was having 10 cameras on the water at all times with different angles. Because the way the Major League Fishing game was played, it had a live leaderboard. And so you had to have data connections to make sure that the anglers could see the score all the time and where they were placing. That was a major difference versus the standard, 5-fish format.
Right.
And then I think the big thing beyond that too was just the production quality, the live streaming aspect, making sure that you were around the action, but then also having chase boats to do camera transfers to follow the action when it happened. So logistically, it blew me away what you had to plan to be able to do all that. And then you also factor in the one thing that you can't control, which is weather, and all of those things that they bring in. So it was a interesting and challenging business at times, and the production side of it, but it was just a lot of fun to learn. And I think the results really showed because, the viewership was so
exploded.
phenomenal.
Yeah, you guys did a great job.
Yeah, and totally exploded. And it really took bass fishing to the masses.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Yeah, what a fun time. So from all that, do you have 3 top learnings from that experience as a marketer that 3 go-to things that you use in your job today? Or just
it's interesting. I think the first thing is as it pertains to managing teams, I really look at it And I try to look at and think about my leadership style a lot. And I'm one that wants to lead with empathy and understanding. I think that a lot of times people want to lead and run their teams or anything else and purely be focused on business results or just what to get done and everything else. And I think all those are important, but I think if you invest in getting to know your teams and being emotionally connected to them and knowing that you don't rule for an ivory tower, but you're in the trenches with them working, that I think that you build a team that can run, that will willingly want to run through brick walls for you.
Love that.
They know you got their back and everything else. And so that was important. I think that's something I've always carried. And I've been so fortunate to have bosses and mentors to help shape that perspective. I think as it pertains to marketing, there's something that I've used as a filter. And again, my bailiwick is more broad reach marketing. And so brand awareness and other things. But throughout my career, I've landed on what I impart on my team and how I use as a filter to understand if we're doing the right things as a marketing organization or anything else, is the 4 R's. And so that's reach. What we're doing, is it getting us awareness? Is it getting out there? Is it relationships is the second R. So those could be through pros that we sponsor, ambassadors, brand partnerships, sponsorships or anything else of that nature. So reach, relationships, retail activation. Again, what is the end point of what we're doing? How does it bring to life at the point of purchase or where the consumer's moment of truth where they're making a decision? And so ultimately the consumer is the end point. And then reach, relationships, retail activation. And then the 4th R is responsibility. And I think that's really important because I think as a corporate entity and structure, we have a responsibility to not only be profitable and do all those other things, but try to make the world a better place in some way, shape, or form because of our clout, our ability and in the marketplace or anything else. And honestly, that was one of the things that what really resonated with me with coming to Costa specifically was not only did they create a superior product from a fishing glass and sunglass standpoint, but their commitment to conservation and sustainability is such a unique point of difference for the brand that, and it's woven in their DNA. That was really important to me.
Yeah, I love that. And the responsibility part too, because these days we got to take care of the planet. Otherwise it's going to self-implode. Did you?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say to that point, I think it's on us, especially in the outdoor industry, as people that have a lot of influence and other things, to preserve access to field and water for the next generation, not just for us. And I think that's why that conservation ethos is so important. That was really woven into us and ingrained in us at Bass Pro, where I spent a lot of time, but seeing that also at Costa was just very appealing.
That's awesome. Yep. And did you come up with those 4 R's, or was that part of, I don't remember that being a Bass Pro mantra when I was there, but maybe that.
No, I definitely, I will say this, the best marketers steal liberally and adapt. And I definitely saw some of those and I added some, as I thought about it, I'm like, wow, this is a really,
that's a thing.
Snappy way to use this as a filter for everything I do. So that really worked.
That's perfect. Hey, nothing wrong with R&D, rip off and duplicate, man.
You got it.
That's awesome.
You got it.
So what are a couple of the accomplishments you're most proud of?
That the first one that comes to mind was being a part of Bass Pro Shops and helping to take that brand nationally was a big thing. And I think a lot of that had to do with transforming the marketing strategies, investing heavily in national media to help build that brand, and then doing really unique and innovative things with partnerships and relationships with celebrities and pros and ambassadors was really a lot of fun. Another milestone that I thought was really interesting was when I was at Bass Pro Shops, in an effort to try and make the brand more appealing to the masses and really broaden out. During the recession in 2008, the sky was falling, right?
Yep.
Everything was just awful, and 70% was a new 50% discounts, and it just everything went crazy. Any type of margins or anything. Bass Pro Shops actually went the other way, and instead of mass discounting or everything else, Bass Pro had held itself as a premium brand that was all about experience, and the value to consumers experience. And Bass Pro and our leadership made the decision to invest heavily in the fourth quarter and to create these large, whimsical experiences called Santa's Wonderland. Oh. And so it was very Christmas-based, everything you could think of, all kinds of games, activities, everything was interactive, all free. But the carrot there was a free photo with Santa. And so we built out in a lot of our stores anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 square villages that were these basically Santa villages. Yeah. Everyone could come in and get a free photo of Santa. And we just we felt as an organization that was the right thing to do, and
Smart.
hopefully bring some joy in a time where there's a lot of doom and gloom. And I think when you came out of that recession, you just hope that you might have been positioned a little bit better mindshare wise, that they may think of Bass Pro. Little did we know that program would go over like gangbusters, and we got 10 million people through the doors our first year.
Wow.
And as we did that, 20% new customer acquisition during those 8 weeks that we ran that program every year. And it led us to become one of Advertising Age's top 10 hottest brands in America. And so that was really cool and different. And I think it was a way to, when you think about Bass Pro Shops, you think of hunting and fishing, to take something that was very broad like that. And the cool thing about that was our average customer at Bass Pro spends 3 hours in our store, and they only come twice a year. So if you could get someone to come in just one more time, and you had over 200 million people coming into your store, that is a huge incremental lift. And so the great thing for us, though, was we started getting in a lot of people that would have never, ever considered Bass Pro. They were just not into the outdoors, not into hunting fishing. But Christmas is universal, and families and wanting to do those fun activities, and that free photo Santa was such an unbelievable traffic driver that it really blew it. I wouldn't be a stretch to say that was one of the major strategic thrusts that helped position Bass Pro to get into the position to acquire Cabela's because of the store growth and how it grew. So I think that was a really big thing. And then I guess some of the other things, like I mentioned before, was being part of being able to launch the Bass Pro Tour and seeing where that is now. So just a few things.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That Santa thing, though, it probably broadened your customer profile too, because you got a lot more women and kids in the store, and they got exposed to things they didn't know you even carried. So that had to be gigantic. You
nailed it. You nailed it. And I think from a customer acquisition standpoint, Guy will go to Bass Pro and he will look for reasons to go. And I think that
he'll have no reason to go, and he'll go.
And it's an easy proposition to bring the kids because of all the aquarium and eye candy and all the other things that are there. But mom's the gatekeeper, right? She's the one that's making the decisions for what the family does. But what was interesting, and I think to your point, if one mom or women came to the store for the first time, maybe kicking and screaming, maybe they didn't want to be there, or because of Santa's Wonderland, it was a moment of discovery. She starts walking around and she says, "Oh my gosh, they have outdoor women's lifestyle apparel. Oh my gosh, they have outdoor backyard,
cooking
backyard
stuff.
patio stuff. They've got cooking stuff. They've got Margaritaville machines." And it's like, oh, I actually like shopping here. That's all it takes.
Yeah. Well, and how many times
that was transformational? And
how many times would mom, dad go in dragging mom and the kids to get the Santa photo, and then they get in there, and her whole mission is to get in and get out so she could go to Macy's or whatever, go to the mall and go shopping, and then she realizes, wow, look at all this other stuff. So they end up spending the whole day there. That's awesome.
Exactly. And not only that, the kids are happy.
Kids are having a blast.
Happy,
yeah,
right?
Like
everyone and dad's, this is awesome. I'm in Bass. I get to go to Bass Pro again.
Exactly. That's very cool. That's so smart. Yeah. And so shifting gears, what was your inspiration to join Costa?
So I was perfectly happy at Major League Fishing. We're doing lots and lots of great things, and we're still poised for continued growth, and are going to have planning for an unbelievable 2022. Costa, who's owned by Luxottica, and they sought me out, and they found me through a mutual contact and referral, and I think reached out to me and wanted to have a conversation. I'm always open to at least listening to new opportunities, but I was perfectly happy where I was, but it became evident really quickly as I started to have these conversations with the leaders at Costa and seeing the vision for what it was. Because in reality, everything I had ever known about Costa, and I've been around the brand a lot with Major League Fishing, with Bass Pro Shops, they were a very premium brand inside those stores, was that Costa was the pinnacle of fishing sunglasses brand. But in many ways, it was so concentrated in Florida with saltwater, inshore, offshore, and fly and other things, that it was primarily a Southeast regional brand. And you saw it in a lot of ways with that. And just like bass fishing, where it started in the Southeast, it just makes a lot of sense. But as I started talking to this new leadership team about their vision for Costa and wanting to take it not only nationally, but globally and internationally into new markets, and then wanting to expand beyond just fishing, but into all things water-based, and they want to own the water, that was a really exciting proposition to be a part of, and to really think about being able to be a part of expanding them into all kinds of other categories within anything water related, plus taking it globally was just it was honestly in very fast fashion, an offer, an opportunity I just couldn't say no to.
That's always exciting. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. Good for you. That sounds exciting. I can't wait to see what you guys do. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I listen. I'm in the throes of onboarding right now and getting to know the business and my teams, and it's been a wild ride so far. But I love the pace. I'm very excited because EssilorLuxottica, our parent company, and the brands that they have, Oakley, Ray-Ban, Sunglass Hut, all the luxury brands, they're so dominant in the eyewear space that to have the juice and resources of them, and for Luxottica to treat Costa as a priority brand that they want to grow like crazy is just really exciting.
Yeah, got to be an exciting time. Yeah, good for you. We're going to take a little break and give some love to our sponsor, Thrive Market. Think organic groceries are too expensive? So does Thrive Market. They guarantee savings on healthy groceries and home essentials delivered. How? It's easy. They work directly with the best organic brands so you get the highest quality products without the big retail markups. Shop everything from pantry essentials to sustainable meat and seafood to toxic cleaning supplies and save up to 30% on your favorites. Choose a free gift up to $24 in value when you purchase a Thrive Market membership. 1- and 2-year memberships are available. Go to ricksays.com/Thrive Market and get your membership today. That's ricksays.com/Thrive Market. Now, back to the show. Who are some of the mentors that have helped you along?
I've had some really great people. One in particular that sticks out is my former boss and vice president of marketing, Stan Lippelman, at the Bass Pro Shops. He's the one that hired me there. He was a former client of mine when I was on the agency side, and he was VP of marketing and R&D at Rawlings Sporting Goods. Oh. Ironically, he's the chief marketing officer now for VisionWorks. Okay. So we work in the same category, which is very funny, but he is a guy that is just, he's that rare breed of marketer that is both super creative, but highly analytical. And he's a complete package. And he taught me so much about marketing beyond just advertising or anything else, but understanding that, especially in the context of retail and brand. But I think he also led by example of how to run teams and how to be there for them and just show up and really adopt the idea of servant leadership and putting others before yourself at all times. He's an extremely humble guy, but people, like I said earlier, would just feel like what I aim for and want is a team that will run through brick walls and want to do whatever it takes to get it done because they feel valued, respected, and they're satisfied with their career and are getting fulfillment. He really instilled a lot of those in me over those 12 years. And I can't give him enough credit. I think I've had various folks on the agency side. Yeah, just here and there that come in and out of different accounts and everything else. And I'm thankful for all of them. And the agency business, I was on that side for 10 years before going over to Bass Pro. Right. And it is a extremely fast-paced business, very fluid and everything else, and definitely not for the weak of heart and not a 9-to-5 job. But I think that sometimes some of my mentors and people that I work with, I think of another lady, Sherry Austin, who I worked at with one agency, who is a real pillar and calm in the storm. And I think that what I learned from that was really important was to never get too high or too low in this business. Yeah, it's important. In some ways, it's marketing. It's not like we're saving lives. It's not hearts and coolers, or anything else like that. And so I think you got to have some perspective. We could sometimes make things a lot bigger than they are, but I think the whole idea of just staying even keeled throughout it is, especially when it's hectic, was a really important lesson for me. So I think those two really jump out to me in terms of people that have had an impact in helping me as I shape not only my career but my leadership style.
Yep, that's great. That's awesome. We've got it's amazing where they come from and how many there are over the course of a career. It's incredible.
Yep.
And so let's see, I think I asked you about the 3 learnings from it. Do you have any fundamental tactics that you use, marketing tactics that you use on a regular basis? Give us a couple.
So it's funny. No, I'm not going to give away any secrets. I find that I'm both a very traditional marketer, and there's things that I really believe in that I really believe strongly in. I still am a big believer in all of those types of things and for broad reach awareness. But mixing all that with next level digital and social and other things is really helping round me out as a marketer. And the way I look at things, that first and foremost, it doesn't matter what type of marketing vehicle or anything you do. I try to keep the idea of relationship at the front end of what it is. And I think that relationship can be applicable in any part. It can be with the people you work with But I think it's important that you think about that in the context of your consumer, right? The person that your audience you're trying to talk to. And I think that I try to make sure that anything we're doing, or I try to look at it through the lens of, it's not just pushing a message toward them, but it's how can I have a constant ongoing one-to-one dialogue with them that's back and forth. And I think that you can see a lot of that in social media and other things, because it's the quickest way to get feedback, good or bad, on anything.
Right.
But I think it's important for a brand to not be so above anyone else that they won't listen to what's out there.
Right.
And I think the best brands will listen, pivot, and adapt versus thinking it's their way or the highway. And unfortunately, I've been around some of that, and that's the quickest way to disenchant and disenfranchise audiences. But I think that a brand can have a personality. And I think in this day and age where brands can be more accessible than ever and get feedback instantaneously 24/7, I think having an open mind to be able to listen to that and take that, not personally, but constructively, because these are your fans and people that love your brand more than anything else. You don't have to get them in the funnel. They're already there.
Right.
That's very important. So
now that's well said. Yeah, that's especially as the brands grow and the consumer gets exposed to so many different things, that one-on-one relationship becomes even more important and more valuable.
Absolutely.
Yep. That's well said.
And you know what I love about that too, I've been so fortunate that I've been able to work on Bass Pro Shops with such a passion brand that people were just crazy about it. And I have the same thing here now at Costa, and that's really exciting because the people that are Costa fans, they are zealots for the brand. And not only that, they have multiple pairs. They have no problem spending an inordinate amount of money on this product because they know it helps them, but they're passionate about it. And I think that these type of cult brands are just so fun to work on because the consumers are just so passionate about it.
Yeah. The products are great. That's so much fun. Yeah, good for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
What other outdoor activities do you participate in? I'm sure you fish a lot, obviously.
You know what? You know how?
Or maybe you don't somehow.
I do get to fish from time to time. I always like it as, you know how people do business on the golf course?
Yeah, right.
I do it on the water, right? So I've been very fortunate to have lots of access to pros and guides to be able to take partnerships or prospective partners or anyone on the water to conduct business. But I probably do that more than anything else.
Cool.
I like to get down to Florida a good amount. I think my favorite type of fishing is inshore saltwater fishing, chasing tarpon and bonefish.
Yep.
And that's what I like to do. So I try to get in the Keys as often as I can, multiple times a year. But that's what I like to do from an outdoor rec standpoint. And if I'm not doing that, when I'm back here in Springfield, when the season's nice or anything else, I'm a big tennis fan. So I play a lot of tennis outside. Cool. Yeah. So that's my other outdoor sport.
That's good. That's a good one. That keeps you in shape.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you start playing tennis at a young age?
No, what's funny about that is I only took that up in my late 20s, and I had always played basketball and running and other things, but I just started taking that up just to knock the ball around with my kids, and then later on I realized, oh my gosh, I got bit by the bug of it, and then ever since then, now I try to play 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow.
I'm in doubles leagues and everything else. And
you're into it.
What I love about tennis is it's a sport of a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And it's non-contact, so you can play it now, you can play it competitively, play it socially, but I tell you, one of the things I'm most looking forward to is retiring and then being able to just play tennis all day and play old man tennis where I can't move around a lot, but I can chip and slice and hit crafty
There you
shots.
go.
So
That's right.
I can't wait for that.
That's awesome. Good for you. That's something good to aspire to. Do you have any suggestions or advice for folks that want to get into the outdoor biz or grow their career if they're already in it?
It's a great question. And throughout my time in the outdoor space, especially not being what you would call or categorize as an avid outdoorsman, but came into it through the marketing route, I think there's lots of opportunities with brands to come in that space. I've seen a lot of people know pretty quickly, especially on the fishing side. There's a lot of anglers that are competing competitively on the high school side, college side, or anything else, but everyone has aspirations to be pros, okay?
Right.
But not all of them are going to make it that way. That's just the way it works.
It doesn't matter what your sport is, fishing or football. Not everybody's going to be pro. Most people aren't going to be pro.
No, but the great thing about fishing specifically, or I'll just use that as an example, is I've seen so many kids come into the industry because of that, but then having a realization they're going to college or whatever, that they weren't going to fish competitively or not to the level that they want. but they want to be in the business. Yeah. So I think that is an entryway into the business. I've talked to college students and high school kids and everything else that have asked that same question. And so just keep doing what you're doing, be at the tournaments, engage with people that are out there activating, talk to them. The fishing and the outdoor industry is not a big industry, first and foremost. So right. I think that it genuinely, because of the nature and makeup of the people that work in the space, they genuinely want to help each other. And I think they want to see new people come in, especially if they're passionate and are enthusiastic. And I will say, from a lot of the teams that I built out and the people that I've hired to bring into the space, some of them have not had any interest in the outdoors, but just wanted the job, and they clearly had the skill set to do that. And then they grew to love the outdoors, or had just a passing interest recreationally. But the ones that are avid always stuck out because I think that they brought a level of authenticity, and they knew the sport because they participated in it. So I always place a value on that. But then on top of it, they got to be able to do the job. The advice that I would give is be extroverted. And when you're at an event or anything else and you see someone that's representing a brand, go up to them and talk to them. Everyone is approachable, even more so in this space. Especially like if you look at the pro anglers, they're very accessible. And just like that, I think the brands are as well. And we're always looking for talent. And I think we're always wanting to help the people that are hungry and have a desire to want to be in the space. And so I think if you can control your own destiny, if you just put it out there and talk to people and say, hey, I want to be a sponge. Tell me what it takes. I want your job. What can I do? I want to do something in this. And I think a lot of it just comes down to just having the courage to talk to people. And I think going to shows, the Bassmaster Classic or any of these other big shows, and just being around all the brands and talking to people, it blows my mind how fast you can get networked and how memorable a lot of these kids are. And so when I'm thinking about making hires or whatever, I've always got a list of people that emailed me or whatever that I refer back to that I look at and think, oh yeah, this kid is great. We need to think about that. And so I think that's a big part of it. There are a lot of people in the outdoor industry that didn't come in or have those passions or anything else, but found their niche and really loved it. And I think that the aspects of what outdoor does in terms of promoting healthy lifestyle, time with families and other things are things that resonate with everyone. But I guess that would be my biggest advice, is to just be courageous, put yourself out there, talk to people, network, hit them up on LinkedIn. And like I said, anyone that reaches out to me, I really try to have a conversation with them, give them guidance or anything else, because I want to pay it forward as much as anyone else, because I love this industry. I love the space. And if someone else wants to be in the space and is driven and motivated, I'd love to do whatever I can to help them.
That's great. That's great advice. Yeah. And you're spot on, because I think at the end of the day, it's a play industry. Whatever activity it is, it's something that you do recreationally or start out to do for play. And we all love doing it. We all love talking about it. So no, that's well said.
Agreed.
Yeah. Do you have any daily routines to keep your sanity? It sounds like tennis is one that you do a lot. Anything else? Walk the dog?
What I do, I try and get up early every day and spend a little time in reflection. And part of that is because I am a slow starter. I'll do some meditation. I will try and pick up and read a book for a little bit. I like to ease into my mornings and then start to get ready, check my email and everything else. I've tried to make myself, so I like to work out a lot. I'm a Peloton junkie. I've got both the bike and the treadmill.
Oh, wow.
And I've tried to force myself to be an early morning workout person, but I'm just not that. I function much better in the evenings or anything else. But those are just, I do have my routines, and it sounds as basic as it is. I like to just get up, do those things before I get out of bed and get ready. This sounds silly, but one of the things I have to do, no matter what, before I ever leave my room or anything else, is I make my bed.
Oh,
and that sounds so silly. I read it once, and it was
there's a book about
general.
That.
And there's a general that talked about that. About you start your day if you accomplish something, and something like that is just easy to do. And you feel good doing it, and it's just a routine. And I think about that often every time I'm doing it, and I have this sigh of relief after. It's like, I feel better. Okay, I'm ready to move on to the next part of my day. So that's something I tried to incorporate. But I also try and give myself some quiet time in the morning just to reflect on things and just ease the day, think about the day before, think about my day, do a little bit of just planning in my head, but also invest in myself with some meditation to clear my head, and then also some some reading or anything else. I love business books and I love biographies. So I try to read just a little bit, just to, my day gets chaotic once 8 o'clock happens.
Yeah, I can
right?
imagine.
And so
yeah,
just anything before that is just like that calm before the storm. So those are the things that work for me.
That's good. Yeah. What are some of your favorite books? Do you have any books, like 3 favorite books or books you give as gifts?
I'd say the book that I probably give a gift more than anything else, I'm a productivity nut. So David Allen's Getting Things Done is a very big one for me. I can't even tell you how many times I've given that book as a gift. And then the other books that I think are really important, I think have really helped shape me from a leadership style as well as how I manage my teams or anything else, is basically anything that Brene Brown writes. I am just crazy about her and Dare Greatly and all of those other things that have been the whole idea about vulnerability that can apply in all aspects of your life, and just having emotional intelligence and really understanding yourself, and it's okay to work on yourself and have self-help and do all those other things. I think are things that were important to me personally, and I try and promote that to my teams or anything else. And then whatever latest marketing or business book that's out there, Seth Godin or anything else like that, I eat all that stuff up. Yeah,
I'm the same. Yep. Brene Brown is pretty prolific, man. It's amazing. And spot on.
It is. And it's a real revolution. And I literally just devour up everything that she has. And I'm just fascinated by that. And it's been transformational in my life, both professionally and personally, and how I deal with others in my relationships.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I read a lot of the same stuff. Yeah. As we wrap up here, is there anything else you'd like to say or ask?
First of all, thanks for the opportunity. I really enjoyed having this conversation. I think it's fun to talk shop. I guess as a close, I'm really excited about Costa and what's planned for the future. There's so many great things that are happening with that brand, and it's really poised to explode. Cool. And we've got some really cool things that are really exciting to me. We launched this Pro series of glass, which are basically elevated versions of very popular fishing frames, but they have a lot of like extra added value benefits, building, sweat channels and different rubber and adjustable nose pieces and metal retainers and other things. So they're like leveled up versions of favorites of Costa glass that people know and love. And we launched that last year. We're going to have a lot more iterations coming out this year and in the future. So I think that's one big thing. But probably one of the biggest things I'm super, super excited about, I really would encourage your audience to go take a look and check out at some point, is we launched a collection last year called the Untangled Collection. Okay. And what that is, we partnered with the sustainability firm Boreo. And we have a line of sunglasses that are made from recycled fishing nets, and they are awesome. 97% recycled fishing nets. And this whole idea of Costa being this brand that was responsible and conservation minded and sustainability and everything else, we did a lot of service projects, partnered with a lot of cause marketing related organizations to do that and everything else. But now it's come full circle, and now not only are we eat, sleeping, and breathing it, but we're producing it, and it's in our product as well. So I think that is a massive accomplishment, and I think that this Untangled line is really the future for us as we continue to build on that sustainability and conservation message. But you have to check it out. It's a really slick line of glasses, but just the whole idea of what it's made out of is just really a game changer for us. Yeah,
well, I'll link to that in the show notes. That's huge, because not only is it a new collection from the brand perspective, but you're also using a resource that it's garbage. And there's so much of that in the world today because of all the plastic that we use. That's huge on so many levels. Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's very cool. And if listeners want to follow up, what's the best way for them to follow up with you? Is LinkedIn the best?
Yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn, and then we'll connect, and then we can message or do whatever. But yeah, you're going to laugh. But here I am, a marketer, has been in this career for almost 25 years and everything else, and I am not on social media.
I noticed that when I was talking to getting this all set up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you, though.
I know. I'm invested in LinkedIn. And I have social media accounts I use for research because I have to understand that clearly as a marketer. But in terms of my own personal things, I'm too busy with doing other things. But if anyone wants to ever reach out to talk or ask questions or anything wants to know about myself or Costa specifically and all the great things we're doing, hit me up on LinkedIn.
Like, there's time to promote the podcast and stuff, but you get on it. It's just, God, why am I doing this? Click, I'm out of here. It's just crazy. Yeah.
No, I agree. Hey, listen, to each his own. And I think social media is amazing and powerful, and it's not going anywhere. Right. And trust me, I will also say that I have been known to get addicted to time and then waste too much time on TikTok. But other than that, I don't really post or look at anything else. I consume content.
Yeah, so. Good for you. Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's been great talking to you, John. I look forward to catching up at a trade show, and we'll follow up soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Be sure to visit our website, theoutdoorbizpodcast.com, where you'll find show notes with links to everything we talked about and more. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or spread the word and tell a friend about the show. That would really help us out too. Be sure to tune in every week. And thanks again for listening to the Outdoor Biz Podcast with Rick Saez.